What is up, YouTube, Spotify listeners, anybody who's just paying attention to us right now? It's your boy Reynoso with your guy Soltero here. Yeah. Excited for this shoot. We're officially on Spotify. You can hear us and not have to see your faces, or you can do the opposite on YouTube. You can see us and listen to us on all platforms now. It's very exciting. It's a good time to be a give and goer.
It's a great time to be live, just in general.
Yeah, it's a good time.
And it's even better if you're listening to this podcast.
Yes, sir. So thank you very much for all the support. We just cracked 1,000 subscribers, which is huge for us. A big accomplishment for the Give and Go family.
So thankful.
Thank you so much. We're just here to keep on delivering content because we just love this sport. So
let's talk football, man.
Let's talk a little bit, man. Let's talk a little bit. Let's talk about something that displays the love of the sport of soccer, a tournament that encompasses passion and a genuine appreciation of the sport, and that's Afcon. Afcon, which saw the final between Senegal and Egypt go all the way to extra time, all the way to penalties, and we saw Sadio Mane, Senegal, lift the trophy up, Salah in tears, and just an incredible display of talent, sportsmanship, and everything there is to love about sports was on display in this game. What did you think?
I thought it was just a great fight, but it's exactly what I expected because Egypt this entire tournament, man, have just grinded. That's what they're really, really good at. They just grind 90 minutes, 120 minutes. In a weird way, similar to how Croatia did in 2018, where they just back-to-back extra times, penalty shootouts. Same thing with Egypt, man. You know, they're not going to score more than one goal, if that. So it was kind of exactly what I expected. Now, what I was not expecting was for Mane to miss that first penalty.
Oh, dude.
First off, terrible tackle. Cease gets inside. Great touch, by the way. Great penetration. Yeah. He just gets in. He goes past that Egyptian fullback, and he's in, ready to either shoot it or send in a ball. And then
it's dangerous. It was dangerous.
It was super dangerous. And then he just gets wiped out. Yeah. Clear penalty, no question about it. Thank God. Hate controversy in finals.
Dude, yeah, it was actually a very clear penalty.
So clear cut.
I had no question about it. I was just like, damn it, dude. Like, he committed to sliding. He fucked up. Now he's going to reap the punishments of it.
Yes. You just see Gatos in the stands. He's just like, fuck.
Yeah.
Mane steps up, and I don't know. It's been an interesting penalty shootout, or not penalty shootout, but there's been some interesting penalties in the whole tournament. Yeah. A lot of saved shots. Mm-hmm. And Mane steps up, and he goes with raw, pure power. Doesn't work. Barely puts it to the side of the keeper. And by the way, really like this Egyptian keeper, man.
What a story.
Dude, he obviously coming on for El Shanawi, who got injured in the quarterfinal, some shit. And Gabal, I guess is his actual surname. He comes in and he's just put in such a good performance, and he shows up in this final with such a big stop. Dude. With the amount of power that Mane still got on it, Gabal was still able to just get a good paw to it and then deflect it out. I was like, shit, let's go. 0-0. Really disappointed in Mane, though, just personally, because I thought out of all the stakes that were on the line, Senegal having never won an Africa Cup of Nations, they got to a final 45 years ago, didn't win it then. I would have thought that Mane now would have put it in, and he didn't.
And he still didn't. He still wasn't able to catch that break in a way. He still had to fucking fight his way to this title.
Demons. He had to fight his demons.
I guess Senegal just has some curse where they have to fucking fight for a major trophy. That's just the rule. That's the rule. It can't come easy to them.
No.
The goalkeeper, dude, he looks like I was watching. I was like, bro, this guy looks like he's straight out of like a GQ magazine, like almost like a godlike presence, like the fucking Poseidon of Egypt or some shit. He looks so godly, like
huge.
The
guy's huge,
yeah. And he put on a great performance this whole tournament. One of the best stories. People are even saying he might get a move somewhere after what he did this whole tourney. Thing is, he's like 33 years old, so he's kind of heading towards the latter part of his career. But you can see it. He's got heart. He's got grit. And he's actually pretty talented. He's a good safety net back there.
Low key, I'm hoping Queiroz uses him for those last remaining World Cup qualifiers, man.
Yeah.
And that's going to be interesting to see. I can't wait to see that lineup because guess who Egypt play in the fucking qualifiers? Senegal, dude. Yeah, Senegal. That's good. So this was final number 1 out of 3, which is insane. Yeah. But yeah, I'm really interested to see that lineup when that comes out for those March qualifiers to see if Gabal's in the back of or between the sticks or not.
Yeah,
I'm curious. But yeah, hell of a performance between the sticks. Senegal, honestly, I thought they were going to run away with it after the first 20 minutes, but after that, Egypt started their grind, and they just tired Senegal's offense. Started giving them less space, made it a lot harder for them. And then Egypt just kind of slowly, as they have done this entire tournament, just get back in the game. Yeah, start holding the ball a little bit longer. Senegal starting to chase shadows all of a sudden. And then that basically continued for the rest of the game. Honestly, like it was kind of an uneventful final in regards to the rest, to how it ended up being. Right.
Yeah. No, from for a good 80 minutes of the game, including extra time, it was just a repetition of the same thing. An attempted attack by Senegal. Egypt counters it, and then they can't really create something up for themselves, and so it just goes back and forth.
Back and forth.
Little which was half nice. Chances. Yeah, I mean, I didn't mind it. I kind of just remembered when I was watching the game, I was like, yeah, finals are usually like this, weird. They're just weird every time. They're never. It's tough to have a really good back and forth, entertaining display in a final. They're usually a little grinded out, just like Egypt showed. And so they went into extra time. Still, I think after 5 minutes of extra time, I was already this has penalties written all over it. Yeah. Egypt want penalties. Senegal's willing to concede that. Let's just fast forward this thing to that point.
Yeah.
And so we had a penalty shootout where Senegal gets the stops needed to pull off the result. Sadio Mane puts in that final nail in the coffin, but a lot of controversy arises about Mo Salah's decision, or maybe the coach's decision,
right?
Not sure who,
right?
Being the last kicker for the team and not getting an attempt.
Yeah, when we kind of talked about this before, just personally, what if you were a coach, just hypothetically. Would you rather have your best player go first or last? Right. And I think I brought up the point, I'd rather have him go first just because it sets the tone.
Yeah.
But then you came up with a counterpoint, and it makes just as much sense. You were just saying basically how what if at the very end you need your last goal to go in? Mm-hmm. Maybe you want your best player to take the last kick.
Yeah, absolutely. But also, there's just pros to each one. But I think there's more of a pro to going earlier because it displays leadership as well.
Yeah.
It's very tense at the beginning versus at the end, I think. Those first few penalties are so damn nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
If I see my captain go up, do his job, I feel more incentivized. I feel better. I feel motivated. Whereas the fourth kicker for Egypt, I don't remember who it was. He looked shaky going up. Yeah. He completely skied it.
Oh, yeah.
He completely skied it.
Yeah.
And when that happened, I was like, well, knowing that was a do-or-die penalty, why wouldn't they switch up Mo Salah's penalty kicking position then? Why isn't it something that they can gauge as well? Why does it have to be he's going to go fifth or he's going to go first?
Right.
Could they have decided as a team? Was it the coach's decision? Get Mo Salah to kick that last free kick to at least last penalty to at least keep them in it to have a chance. But they didn't, and Senegal won their first major trophy in the country's history.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about the reaction, man. I think that this is why I get a little peeved when people talk about tournaments such as this as being a small tournament, because the Premier League is constantly harping on the Afcon because it gets in the way. British people don't really seem to be too positive about this tournament.
Just in general.
Most of world football doesn't really even pay attention to it until the final.
Yeah.
It's tough for people to even give it a chance. But you see the impact it has on a country. You see the impact that it has when you win a major trophy for your country. Dude, have you seen the videos of all the Senegalese people celebrating this victory, bro?
Yeah, dude.
It's insane.
Fucking Dakar, Senegal was lit that day.
Dude, the streets, a sea of Senegalese people.
Dude.
It's ridiculous. And then what even fascinated me more is that Sadio Mane got interviewed after the game. He had the trophy in his hand. He's celebrating. He got interviewed, and they asked him, Sadio, how important is this victory to you? This is Sadio Mane, who's won the UEFA Champions League, Club World Cup, Premier League, and all in the modern era. These are very good achievements.
Yeah.
He said himself that this was the most important trophy in his life, in his career. This is the happiest he's ever been.
Dude.
The Afcon is the biggest trophy that a player of that caliber has received. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, I definitely need to rewire my thinking when it comes to how much a tournament like this means to the players.
To the players.
Because it's a different level. It's a different gravity when you involve a person's country rather than a club.
Yeah, I completely agree. I remember thinking when Senegal finally won it, the first person I thought of was Senegal's coach, Aliou Cissé. He took Senegal to their first final in 2002 as a player. He was on that pitch as a player. And they lost, I think, on penalties. And they weren't obviously ever able to repeat going back and winning it until now with him as head coach.
Wow.
Beautiful full circle. So I can just imagine how beautiful it was for Cissé to finally win it. And it's like his own personal story arc to finally just achieve something that has been eluding him for 20 years. It was a fucking nightmare. But now he's conquered it. And it's just, it means so much to the staff, so much to the players, and obviously so much to the people. And that's the thing. I think international tournaments in general kind of get slightly negative tones in that people just praise club football so much. But as you said, I think a lot of people don't put themselves in the perspective of the players. When you involve yourself with your country, it means so much more. Yeah. I remember watching on Sky Sports like a Gary Neville interview with Harry Kane, and Gary's just like, win the Premier League or win the Euros with England? And Kane was like, I'd rather win the Euros with England.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So even a top Premier League player really values their time and their career with the international team, because at that point you're going beyond just the club fans. You're uniting an entire fucking country, dude. And to lift a trophy where the entire country is supporting you, that must be
I just think it means more. It means more to these players. Means more. I think what misconstrues people is maybe the quality that is achieved at international level versus
that's exactly what it is.
Because club does generate better quality, people think, oh, it's more rewarding. Maybe in a professional way, it's more rewarding to win those tournaments. But in an emotional way, the emotional factor, it means the world to these players. In the international tournament, Messi with Copa America, Ronaldo with the Euros. I'm sure those are up there with the highest of their achievements as well. So like
exactly,
it's just the way that a player, I think, goes about performing and competing. And so it was great to see, man. It was great to see the reaction and everyone just celebrating. Shout out to Senegal, and if we got anybody from Senegal listening, man, shout out to you and your country.
I'm so fucking happy for Senegal.
Congratulations.
And conversely, man, you could see how much it meant to Mo Salah. His second final where he just lost, just couldn't ultimately win. And you could see, man, he really cares about this tournament. Just like Mane, Salah really wanted to lift this trophy. And it was kind of almost poetic when Mane was stepping up to take the final kick. You could see they panned on Salah's face, and he was just like, no, not my own brother.
Dude, that dynamic is insane.
It's insane.
It's storybook.
Yeah. Storybook for sure. So my condolences to Egypt and Salah in general. You put up an incredible fight. But I think for me, Senegal deserved it in the end. Absolutely. And congratulations.
They had more dangerous opportunities. Yeah. But the thing is, the story isn't over yet because of that World Cup matchup they have now, where the stakes are, you could argue, even higher. This is for a spot in the World Cup. One of these guys will go home.
It's gonna get ugly.
It's like the Warriors against the Cleveland. It's like a trilogy here.
Dude,
Part one's trilogy,
done, bro. Part one. What's crazy is that now they're going to each go to their own home stadiums.
Yes,
oh my
bro.
God,
Instead of a neutral ground, home stadiums now. It's going to be a fucking classic, dude. I'm really excited about these matchups.
I'm really excited about that.
Something I want to talk about regarding African football is, did you see that news about Hakim Ziyech retiring from the Moroccan national team?
Yeah, I actually saw this coming. When Ziyech didn't get called up in the first place from Halilhodžić, the coach, I was like, that's weird. Because it's a World Cup year. Every team sent their best players. And Halilhodžić specifically said before the tournament, I'm not picking Ziyech. Basically, outright to the media, he said, coaches have not picked their best players and won before. I'm going to do the same thing. And that's just calling out Ziyech. Yeah. Whether it's attitude, commitment, maybe loyalty. Maybe Ziyech is in the wrong somehow, but I'm not surprised by this statement from Ziyech. Like, I don't see him coming back from Morocco as long as Halilhodžić is the coach.
I think that's really what it is. Yeah. It's not like retiring. It's just until they switch coaches.
Yeah.
But dude, there's something going on there because you watch Ziyech announce retirement, bro. He's got a grudge. Yeah. Like, he is held up by something.
Oh, there's some bad smoke. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going underneath that we just don't know about.
And so I just hope it gets resolved. It's going to be interesting to see how the Moroccan Federation handles the situation, because I would argue that they need Ziyech in the World Cup. Like, that would be such a boost for them.
Yeah, and I was curious when Morocco went out. I was curious. I was like, well, why didn't Ziyech get called up? And I compared their squads, the 2018 World Cup versus the squad now, and Halilhodžić really stuck to his word. A lot of the European-based players that were called up in 2018, not called up now.
Wow.
So he's like, I don't know, he has some sort of vendetta against maybe these European-based Moroccans.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. To me, it's obviously hurting the team. Well, you take out quality, it's going to hurt any team, obviously. I just think it's strange. I just think it's really weird. And coming up when Morocco still have to win a qualifier against the Democratic Republic of Congo. If you're like the Moroccan FA, are you happy about this? Are you like, no, we made the right choice? I don't know, man.
Now it's a chess game for you.
Yeah.
It just got complicated.
Because there's no way you can fire him literally a month before the biggest games of Morocco for the 2022 World Cup. There's just no way. And so, all that being said, I'm going Congo now, man. Let's go Congo,
dude.
Bro.
Congo's one matchup away from a World Cup appearance.
I'd love that.
Let's run it.
Let's run it. So, let's see where this goes. I have a question, but it's a philosophical one. It's one where there's not an answer, and definitively there's no answer.
I'm game.
And the question is, what will it take for a coach from the Americas, not including Argentina, to make it in Europe, to truly have a successful career in Europe? And specifically, I'm talking about the United States. That's where we're from. And I bring this up because, it's a little late, but 2 months ago, Jesse Marsch was let go from RB Leipzig.
Yeah.
And mind you, this is the rising ball sport, Leipzig. The team that has consistently finished in the top 3 for the past 6-7 years in the Bundesliga, top 5 leagues in the world. And first off, what an appointment it is for an American coach to even get that gig in the first place. Insane. And he was there for, August to December? 4 or 5 months? And then done. Just like every other American coach before him.
Right.
So I ask, what is it going to take? Because I really thought that Marsch was going to be the golden boy, the poster boy for the future of American coaches. You follow Marsch's footsteps, you're going to be coaching at the highest level in European football. He was a good coach at New York, obviously already with the Red Bull system. And when he got assigned to Leipzig as an assistant, I was like, okay. I was like, that's kind of cool. Like an MLS head coach going to Europe, not to be a head coach, but to just be in the system.
Right.
To just be involved.
Yeah.
And I was like, I like this. I'm going to follow what Marsch does. And then soon after, they said, we're actually going to give Marsch the position at Salzburg, head coach in Austria. And I was like, this is cool because Austrian League's not much. They're always in the Champions League.
Yeah.
And that's top quality football. That's going to really test Marsch's mettle, his mentality, his tactics. And I was very interested to see what he could do. And for me, he completely outperformed what I thought he could have done. Yeah. He had some really fun-ass teams. Just ball-hungry fullbacks, insanely good midfielders, talking about like Mwepu, Koita, Soboslai, people who just go forward even when they're not supposed to. And the thing troublemakers. Just really good offense. And the thing is, that's ultimately what was his demise at Leipzig is that, bro, they let in a lot of goals. They just couldn't defend. But I would have thought that idea of just having better players under that type of system would have worked. Because it's so German, it's so Leipzig to just press hard, get the ball back as soon as you lose it, and then once you do get the ball, you go for goal. For me, that's how Leipzig have been playing for years, and I thought that Marsch was just going to continue that. So I was like, oh, this is actually like a match made in heaven, and that's why I was excited. And I was like, Marsch is going to be the guy. He's going to be the first American coach to coach in the top European leagues and be successful, and it just didn't work out. I remember seeing some of the Champions League results in group stages, and they were losing heavy. And I was like, fuck. Because the thing is, European executives, they don't give Americans that big of a straw to work with. You know, if you're an American coach, you're going to have a short straw.
Yeah.
And once I saw those results, I was just like, fuck, Marsch, start winning, please. And he just didn't. They eventually let him go. And obviously, of course, like the game after they won, and they ended up winning their like next 3 games as soon as he left. So it's just like almost the universe just immediately telling Marsch, like, just wasn't for you, man.
Yeah.
Not here.
Yeah.
Not here, not now.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what the fuck? If not Marsch, then who the fuck else? Bob Bradley, right? Coached in Europe, took like a second division Sweden team to the top flight in Sweden, then went to France, was a goal difference point away from being promoted to the Ligue 1 in France. So close. And then he gets like a big gig with Swansea City in the Premier League. And I think he was appointed there for 10 minutes and then got fired. A whole 10 minutes. Yeah. That's it. That's all they gave Bob, man. And then Berhalter, I didn't actually know this, but Berhalter actually was one of the first American coaches to coach in Europe. But the highest he ever got was like the top league in Finland. Something like that. All this at the top of my head, I don't even know if that's the right country, but it's something like that. It's something like that. It's at least that caliber. And obviously, he got fired, and they quoted it as saying Berhalter didn't play the offense that we liked here in Europe. And they let him go. And so, again, I'm going to say it again. I asked the question, what is it going to take? When you have a guy like Jesse Marsch, who is the very definition of what you'd want in European football, aggressive defense and tactical offense, but also very clinical. That's European football. And it didn't work out. And so it's just, what do you do? I don't know. And that's what I'm getting at. The idea is, it's almost becoming a myth. The idea of an American coach coaching in Europe. It's like, years from now, we'll be telling our kids, like, one day there'll be a man rising out from the West, going to the lands of the East and conquering.
Yeah.
But it's a myth. It's like a Messiah type of legend. Will it ever happen?
Yeah.
I don't know. And we can go to Mexican coaches. Antonio El Turco Mohamed, who famously won Liga MX with Tijuana after they got recently promoted. Great Tijuana team, by the way. Great coach. Mohamed gets appointed to Celta de Vigo in Spain. And I'm just like, let's fucking go. This looks great. This looks great. Because I thought out of all the coaches in Mexico, why not Mohamed? Mm-hmm. Why not? And he goes to Celta, and they give him 3 months. And he wasn't even that bad. He was like 12th place. Mm-hmm. Fire him. They hire a Portuguese. He actually does worse, but they gave him like 6 months. So that's what I'm kind of getting at it. If you're an American coach, Mexican, American, whatever, and you go to Europe, you're already doing an uphill battle.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
The question stands, what is it going to take? I have no fucking clue, but it's not going to be easy. And whether it's Marsch in the future, because maybe he's not done. Maybe he comes back, has like a fucking like self-reflective attitude, and he's like, you know what? I can change, and I can come back stronger, better. I can figure this out. And if there's anyone that could do it, maybe it is him. I mean,
might still be him.
It might still be him. I'm not going to count him out just yet. But whoever it ends up being, man, I can't wait to see who they end up coaching and what they end up achieving, because that will just be so dope to follow.
Yeah. I think it's definitely a question of philosophy, I think. It's the idea of the Western against the Eastern.
Yeah.
Because, this applies to all of North America. Man.
That's what I'm saying.
This is all across our continent.
Not even coaching, players-wise, too.
Players, too, yeah.
They find it tougher.
It's definitely. It's definitely an uphill battle compared to, like, the likes of South America and even Africa.
Exactly.
We have a shorter leash in general.
Yeah.
So how do we break that? How do we get past that? How do we overcome that?
Yeah.
It's going to be through an exaggerated, an extra type of philosophy that's almost too much to understand, too much to handle, which is kind of like what Jesse Marsch was kind of getting at.
Yeah.
It was so one thing.
So aggressively. He left
so
so many holes in the middle of his defense, but it worked for a good amount of time.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And I just don't see, there's no point in being a North American coach and playing it safe because they'd much rather have a European coach play it safe.
Great
Always.
fucking point.
And it's like, there's questions of race here involved and just questions of background that could be looked at. But at the core, I think it's philosophy and the idea that Europeans have about North American soccer in general.
Yeah.
It's always been looked down upon. It's always been looked at.
Yeah.
Something that isn't at the level of European soccer, which isn't. It isn't.
Yeah, and the thing, they have a point. It's not the best point, but it is a point.
It's a point.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that they're even giving Jesse Marsch that type of opportunity to them is enough. They're like, all right,
I'm proud of this fucking guy, man.
Crazy enough for us. I actually don't think it's time for us to see an American coach like lead a team to like the quarterfinals of the Champions League. I don't think we're there yet, man. That's still really far away.
That sounds
because that would
incredible.
be groundbreaking, man.
That'd be so groundbreaking, bro.
It's just I just think about the idea of imagine if your team, you support a European team, and they hire an American coach. Just the jokes that would come with that, the press, the barrier you have to overcome, and just convincing your fans that this is a good hiring is a challenge in itself because of the idea people have about Americans and the sport of soccer.
Absolutely.
So. It's gonna take a lot. I do think it will come, but right now it's a mystical thing. It's a myth. It's an idea that we have way up in the future. But when that day comes, we will be uploading an episode. We will be praising our leader, our savior, whoever it is. Oh it's gonna be a great achievement for North America.
Yeah.
Because right now it's not that, and we've seen it with Mexican coaches as well. Yeah. We've seen it with it's everyone that's a part of this continent has never been able to break through. And hopefully one day we get to see it.
That'd be dope.
I want to shift things over to a whole nother continent, man, because something that I've noticed we've been doing on the channel, we've only been active for like 2 months.
Yeah.
There's a lot of North American, South American talk, purely because the CONCACAF qualifiers were happening and CONMEBOL qualifiers were happening. So that was like the main focus of our conversations. And we've had a lot of people on TikTok asking for our opinions, asking what we think about all these European teams at the moment. And I thought, what better way to talk about these teams than the Champions League coming up next week? Some big matchups. It's actually fucking incredible, these matchups. I'm really hyped for them.
Yeah.
Biggest stage, highest quality level of soccer. And I want to go through these matchups and predict who's going to win what and let these people know what our thoughts are. So, first match I want to talk about is Villarreal against Juventus. Juventus, who's just signed the Wonder Boy, Dusan Vlahovic.
There's a lot of talk that Vlahovic was going to do Atletico. And I was
Really? He was a rumor for Atletico?
He was a big rumor. He even liked a tweet that Atletico posted. And there's a lot of people getting really excited, including me.
Wow.
I haven't been an Atleti fan. Colchonero for life. And when I saw the papers saying that he signed for Juve, I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Just annoying, man.
It's kind of how it goes, I guess.
Yeah. Juve, just like Bayern, just kind of poached the Chiesa from Fiorentina, now Vlahovic from Fiorentina. It's just what they do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Dybala from who the fuck did he put? Palermo, some shit like that. So, yeah, this is what they do, and it's a hell of a signing for Juve, man.
Mm-hmm. And they're going through what I would call for them like a reform period after losing on Ronaldo. Allegri's back coaching. They've gone through a new period where they're trying to figure out what their identity is again because they've lost some damn stingers these past few Champions League years where they were the favorites and they lost against Porto, against Lyon, and against
crazy.
Ajax. That's the last 3 years for Juve.
Yeah.
They've underwhelmed supremely in the Champions League.
Yeah. They really have, though.
Everyone's asking the question this time going into this matchup is it going to happen against this Villarreal team that's actually somewhat formidable? This is probably the deepest they've gone in the Champions League in recent memory. Villarreal has a great chance here to poach on a team that could be susceptible. Thing is, I think Juve has enough to figure it out. They played really well. Dusan Vlahovic played really well in his recent game It was against Hellas Verona, I think. Where all the front three, Morata, Dybala, Vlahovic, all played really well. And I was like, this is good going into a really important week.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be able to have enough. They got the quality for it. I think they'll be able to overcome that, losing to that weaker side curse that they've had going for the past 3 years. So I'm going with Juve.
Yeah, all that being said, I think this is set up perfectly for that run to continue, for them to lose against a side that's just slightly worse for them. I think this Villarreal side is probably the best it's ever been. When you have a guy like Unai Emery coaching, taking them to Europa League these past couple of years, and finally breaking into the Champions League knockout stage, I think Villarreal have a lot to show here, and they have a lot of firepower.
They absolutely
really do. I'm really excited to see this team. I think it's gonna be a great matchup. Honestly,
yeah, it's one of the better matchups.
Yeah, because I think it's actually really, really even when it comes down to it. I think their offenses are very similar. Defensively, maybe Villarreal is gonna struggle a little bit just because the insertion of Vlahovic, but yeah, I think Juve probably still have the edge. But I wouldn't be surprised if Villarreal still pull it off.
I stand in the same place. I think I'm just going with Juve, and you're going with Villarreal. Fair enough. Cheers to that, brother.
Absolutely.
Next matchup, Sporting CP versus Manchester City. We'll start with Sporting CP, who, I haven't seen them at this stage in a while. So
it's been a while.
I guess props to them. They managed to get out of a group where Ajax and Borussia Dortmund were involved. And they won some important games in the group stage, so they made it here. They earned it. Good for them.
Yeah.
I guess the one player I wanted to highlight is Pedro Goncalves.
Yeah.
Just found out this guy when watching the Champions League. I was like, who is this dude? Dude's a stud. 23 years old, Portuguese. He's made very few caps for the international team, but on Sporting CP, he is their fucking god, bro.
Yeah.
Last year, he scored 23 goals in the Portuguese league, and then this year, he's got 6 goals and 5 assists in about 17 games.
Okay.
He's putting up good numbers. These are noticeable numbers. I wouldn't be surprised.
Turn rate,
I wouldn't be surprised if he made a move to a bigger club sometime soon. Maybe not like a Real Madrid or anything, but a step up, a better league. I could see him doing.
Yeah.
And I think just like how Luis Diaz had a standout performance against Man City where he scored an incredible goal recently.
Yeah.
I think Pedro's positioned himself well to score a really cool goal where he gets past 2-3 guys, finishes it off, makes a great name for himself, and then he looks up at the scoreboard and it's 8-1. I could see that happening, It's set up that way.
Yeah.
Man City is just too damn powerful. It's
too stacked.
Top 2 teams in the world, and they're not number 2. I think they're really, really good and really well situated going into this knockout tie.
Yeah.
And just in general, I think Man City is a tough team to knock out. They are looking for their first Champions League trophy, and this is their chance to start that journey again. So I'm going Man City.
Yeah, completely agree. I think one thing that kind of plagues a team like Sporting is they just don't have the culture of winning in Champions League.
Yeah. And
that's no disrespect. When you see them play in Champions League, they just... especially when they play against teams that are much better than them, it gets ugly. It really does with Sporting. I think the best that they can do is hopefully maybe Gonçalves just puts on a show for himself. Good luck to them, but I think City just has this one just completely in the bag, man. Yeah. I hope Sporting do well. I hope they put up some sort of fight because it's always fun, but it's tough, especially for Portuguese teams because the league's just not the best.
Yeah.
So even if you have a team like Benfica or Porto who are dominating the league, it's really tough for them to play teams against teams like Man City. Absolutely.
Yeah. So. No, the levels are usually this is when they're exposed the most. Mm-hmm. The difference in the leagues is these
it gets really exposed here.
Yeah. And I think the same thing will happen in the RB Salzburg versus Bayern Munich matchup.
Yeah.
Same thing. Obviously, might be more high octane. Salzburg is first in their Austrian league right now by a long shot, and
as usual,
and Bayern is first in the Bundesliga as well. They just got knocked out of their League Cup though, so maybe there's some sort of flaws that can be exposed. Thing is, Bayern doesn't tend to let off against weaker teams. They're really good about doing their homework, bro.
Yeah.
They just do what they need to do. They get the result and they move on. It's just the Bayern way. It's so cold. It's so deadly. Yeah. And I think it's just going to happen again this time.
Yeah, I think the worst thing that's going against Salzburg is that it's a 2-game affair. If this was one game, I think they would have a somewhat of a chance. But the fact that this is over 180 minutes of football, that's their downfall.
They lost a bit before the ball was even kicked.
Yeah, man,
it's done.
It's so tough.
Done. We move on to Benfica against Ajax, which is actually a matchup. This is one of my favorite matchups because both of these sides I'm super interested in. Ajax, I love that 2019, I believe.
Yeah,
Ajax team that made an incredible run to the semifinals. They had so much youth on their squad, but they were so well coached, and they all had such great chemistry. And a lot of those players ended up moving on to bigger leagues. Van de Beek, Ziyech, the league. So many moves, so much impact there that came from that team, and they've managed to make their way back to the Champions League knockout stages, winning every single game in their group, having really good performances leading up to this, and actually making an argument for potentially being more formidable and, in my opinion, a much more mature side than what we saw in that 2019 side. I don't know if they have the same magic. I don't think they do.
Yeah. But
I think on paper, by the way that they perform, the quality that this team has to offer, I think it's better than the 2019 version.
Yeah, I've actually seen a couple of Ajax Champions League games, and I completely agree. The magic isn't necessarily the same, especially when you compare it to 2019. But I think you use the perfect word there, maturity. Their offense is just more mature than it was in 2019. It's a lot more straightforward, but effective. Super, super effective. Sebastian Haller has 20 goals already or something like that this season?
Yeah, he's a killer.
He's just a killer up there. But it's just because I think the wingers supply for him really, really well. It's almost like they just have a game plan. Yeah. Well, obviously they do, but everything's kind of set up for him.
Right.
Every play is for him, and it's working really, really well right now, rather than just kind of, focusing on magic of Ziyech, for example.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you see this a lot just in bigger tournaments where a team who had a lot of youth made a good run, but ultimately didn't win it. But then they come back years later, much more mature, and they actually do better.
Yeah.
You see that just throughout sports in general. Maturity means so much.
Yeah, experience.
So, yeah, experience.
No, it goes a long way. I think they'll win this matchup against Benfica. But Benfica, on the other hand, I want to talk about them real quick. I was looking at their roster, and this caught me off guard because I started looking at where each player was from, what country they originate from. 29 players on their roster from 15 different countries. And more specifically, I look at their most popular win this Champions League cycle was beating Barcelona 3-0 at home.
Yeah.
I looked at the starting 11. Only 2 Portuguese players on that starting 11. The rest are from 9 different countries. Not a single country repeats. You got a guy from the goalkeeper from Greece, right back from Austria, Otamendi from Argentina,
right.
Another defender from Spain, midfield it's Denmark or some shit.
Yeah.
I was just this is
a Serbian in there.
Abnormal.
Yeah.
It's a little weird.
For a Portuguese team, absolutely, bro.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You would think that they would have at least 5. Sporting has about 5, I think, as their core playing that are Portuguese. But Benfica has said, fuck that, dude. We're going to throw in as much variety as we can into our squad.
Yeah.
And, I mean, so far it's worked. So far they've generated a good team. They managed to, knock out Barca, who, yes, is obviously not in their best moment, but big name, and I'm sure it meant a lot for the people of Benfica.
Yeah.
And they've actually gotten a favorable draw in the sense that this isn't a top 4 team. This is probably one of the better chances they'll have to get to the quarterfinals. My thing is that with Portuguese teams, they tend to disappoint so much, man.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah.
They're so hard to instill faith in, man. The best that we've gotten in the past 5 years was Porto last year.
Yeah. Porto last year was the best we've gotten, and by a long shot.
Yeah.
You compare it to any other good Portuguese performance, and it doesn't even compare. That Porto team last year was really, really good. And even then, they still have to get a little lucky on a lot of occasions, especially in the matchup against Juventus. And they also had somewhat an easy group other than Man City, but the other 2 teams were pretty easy.
Yeah.
So, I completely agree, man. Portuguese teams, they get exposed when push comes to shove, they get exposed.
Yeah. And so we both got Ajax?
I got Ajax, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going Ajax. Next up is Chelsea versus Lille. Chelsea, who is a goddamn demon in a knockout stage format. They showed that last year in their incredible Champions League winning run.
Yeah.
And Lille, who, man, fucking Lille, man. So proud of them. So proud of them for what they achieved, winning the League One.
Well, last year, yeah. Which was a hell of an achievement.
Almost a little Leicester-esque.
Yeah.
Just without the propaganda behind it.
Yeah.
It was pretty big. But the magic that they had back then has completely gone. Yeah. Completely. Even more than that Leicester side when they went to the Champions League. That Leicester side still had something. This team has lost it completely. They're like in, I think, 8th place in the league or some shit, maybe even like 11th.
Oh, yeah. They're having a horrible season. But this happens a lot with League One teams. Consistency is non-existent in that league unless your name is PSG. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about like the Monaco side when they had Mbappe. Yeah. Obviously, they're going to lose a lot of their core players, but they dropped so much. Yeah. You'd think that because they still kept a core of their players, you'd think that they'd be able to do something with it. And they actually bought players with that Mbappe money.
Dude, they almost got relegated at
one
point.
I know.
Monaco was bad.
It didn't mean shit. Also, Rennes 2 years ago did really well, finished 3rd place in the league, did horribly the next year. And it's the same thing now with Lille. Won the league, and now it's just
it's
absent.
just like that summer transition. They lose it because by the time Champions League is there, they're not the same team anymore. You're right. That consistency is there, and I think it's going to get exposed badly in this game. I think Chelsea's got it.
Yeah, for me, this is a no contest type of matchup. Just straight up. No disrespect to Lille, but it's just clear and cut. Chelsea's so much better.
Yeah, Chelsea in 3rd place right now in the league. Underwhelming in the way in that sense, but I still think that's a top 5 team in the world. Yeah. They got a great squad. They got great depth. And this is the one tournament where they can, go full throttle in and
get
win.
Some silverware.
They still
have a great chance to win this tournament again. So, and to get a matchup like Lille to start off, that's a great start.
Yeah. That's a dream right there. And I think another dream that has been given to us this knockout cycle is the classic Ronaldo versus Atletico matchup. Yeah. Manchester United against Los Colchoneros. Your squad. I'll let you start this off. How do you feel? What do you think?
Yeah, I feel pretty bad about this. Even considering how weird Man United have been for the past couple of years and how honestly bad they've just been even this season. I don't see Atletico winning this tie. And I'm going to be completely honest. And I know as a fan, you have to be optimistic. You have to be like, we can win any game. But I'm a realist. I got to be realistic in this sense. Atletico, and I could turn this into a whole Atletico fucking analysis. I won't. But for a team who has had so much identity for the past decade under Diego Simeone, we are now a team without one. We have no identity. Our defense is completely non-existent when you compare it to what it used to be. But not only that, we don't have any ideas offensively. None. We kind of just score just through sheer brilliance because we do have incredible talent in our team. Mm-hmm. Correa, Felix, Griezmann, just to name a few. And then obviously you still have shooters like Suarez. And then, you still have deep runners, Carrasco, Llorente. It's good offense individually. We have no cohesion going forward together. And again, there's zero cohesion at the back. The back line is leaky. It's leaky as it's ever been. And so when I pin Atletico against a Premier League team, I think it's a bad combo. It's not going to work. If we had gotten someone else who was just, maybe less dynamic, because even when Man United are at their worst, they can still pin you. They can still run past you. And that's why Atletico's been really struggling this year is just covering through balls, covering crosses especially. Jan Oblak's out of form. Nothing's working, especially defensively for Atletico. So even a bad Man United, I think, can really expose us. And the thing is, since our offense isn't clicking, man, over 2 games, I just don't see us beating Manchester. I just don't.
This is going to be crazy, man. I'm going to have to argue for you here, man. It's going to be a little awkward because, dude, I think Man U is so bad, bro. They are so bad. And right now, form is really bad for Man U. Tying Burnley, the worst team in the Premier League, tying them 1-1. losing to Middlesbrough in the FA Cup.
And the FA Cup, I saw that, yeah.
Horrible. Everything you just explained about Atletico Madrid and their flaws, you can apply the Man U just as much in tenfold. No identity. Great players, great talent, great offensive talent, no cohesion.
Right.
I almost think in a way like I actually think it's very even because of that. I don't think Atletico's great either.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, I think the biggest question I have for myself is, well, if they both even out in that sense, or if they're pretty close, maybe one might be slightly better. What's the X factor?
For me, you're laying this out perfectly. You're laying this out perfectly. Yeah. For me, the reason why I have United winning is because for me right now in 2022, they play in the better league. I think Atletico.
Okay, you want the league.
I think Atletico are where they're at right now because La Liga is just not where it used to be a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. It's easier right now. So Atletico are a lot higher than I think they should be. And whereas United, they're playing against some really tough teams in the Prem, man. So I don't think Atletico can match up against even a mid-table Prem team, man. Yeah. And I know that's so negative, but
the thing is, I actually think they're both in the same position in their leagues.
There you go.
But it's just a different quality.
It's just a different quality, and for me, that's the deciding factor.
Okay,
that's the deciding factor.
That's a good one. I think for me though, because of what we saw with how impactful a coach can be to a team with Chelsea and Tuchel, I'm going with the better coach here. I'm going with the coach that can light a flame on a team and potentially get something out of them. Rangnick has nothing going for Man U right now. He has found no sort of motivation for this team. He hasn't lit a fire in them. He doesn't seem to have the control over each player that I know Diego Simeone can generate.
Absolutely.
I'm going to go with that.
I'll never doubt
sort of safety net because you've seen Simeone in knockout games. It's fucking insane.
Yeah.
He's both a tactical genius, but also a great motivator, an emotional impact that he can have on a team. I'm going with that. I'm trusting him more than Rangnick.
Man, I hope you're right, bro.
And so outside of that, headlines, the narratives, I think are going to be really fun. Atletico against Man United at the Wanda is going to be a great matchup. I know the fans are going to turn out no matter what.
Oh, yeah. Atletico loves hosting English teams.
Yes.
They love it, man.
Yeah, and with Ronaldo being part of that team,
is going to
be
fun.
With Ronaldo being there, it's going to be a hell of a match, bro. A hell of a match.
Yeah.
I guess a question I have for you is, do you think Ronaldo will have an impact on the games?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. He's gonna get that Spanish spirit back in him. Something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And Atletico obviously have that Ronaldo curse. Playing Madrid, losing twice in the Champions League. That means something. Yeah. Whether I like to admit it or not, it means something. Mm-hmm. And I think, sure, add that in as another factor why I don't think Atletico is gonna go through.
All right. And then we'll switch it up this time with my favorite team, my go-to team, Liverpool, facing off against Inter Milan. I remember when I saw the result of the draw as a Liverpool fan, I saw we got Inter and I went, shit.
Could have been better. Could have been a better draw.
Could have been something easier, something lighter.
Yeah.
But we got the best team in Italy right now, first place in Serie A, Inter Milan,
who is a tight league though.
Yeah, it is tight.
Tight as fuck.
They could be fourth by tomorrow.
They could be.
But right now, first in Serie A, and they're starting to get their shit together too. If you look at their past results, they got like 9 out of 10 wins in the past 10 games. It's crazy.
Shit, good for them.
They're starting to get into form, and it's actually kind of scary because I look at Liverpool, and I think this is arguably Liverpool's best side under Klopp. I think you could make that argument.
Yeah.
Every player has delved into their role more than ever before.
Yeah.
Offensively, we are scoring more than we ever have. We had a streak at one point, I think it was like 8 straight games of 3 goals, which is an insane feat.
God.
An insane feat to watch a game and expect more than 2 goals is ridiculous.
That's insane.
We never reached those highs any of these previous years. We never gotten to that point.
Title-winning campaigns, no.
And we haven't really slowed down. Yes, that streak ended, but we still have games where it's 2 goals minimum almost.
Yeah.
Our defense has been shown to be more shaky than when we won the title or the Champions League. And that is a concern, I think, for in the context of a league campaign. Mm-hmm. But in the context of a knockout format, the knockout stage, dude, I think this Liverpool team is one of the worst teams to face. This is one of the scariest teams.
Oh, yeah.
Knockout teams, you got to go to Anfield and get a result. You got to get a result at home. It's incredible what you have to ask of your team if they get drawn against Liverpool, because Liverpool is a goddamn monster in these settings.
Absolutely. I think when I saw that draw against Inter Milan, I was like, okay, this is going to be interesting because you have one of the best teams in England against, the best team in Italy. But for me, it's almost impossible for a non-Premier League team, unless you're like Bayern Munich, to play Liverpool.
Yeah.
It's impossible. You're not used to the pace. You're not used to the clinicality. You're not used to the aggressiveness. Yeah, the Italian league is really, really good, and it's gotten so much better over the last 3-4 years. And Inter Milan have been really, really good, but they're going to struggle against Liverpool.
Yeah.
And we can go back to group stage against AC Milan. AC Milan, who are having a really good season, and they've had 2-3 good seasons last year too. And Liverpool just, at the end of the day, just bested them. It's going to be it's going to be the same thing
There's
here.
Nothing that
There's nothing they can
you're
do.
right. There's nothing that can
nothing-
prepare you for a team like Liverpool if you're not in the Premier League.
You can play. You can have a great game. You can do well, but you're going to get outscored at the end of the day. You just can't stop it.
No.
And and like I said, only the teams who have that element of having lifted the trophy in recent memory, like a Bayern Munich or like another Premier League team, those are the only teams I think that can truly stop Liverpool.
Yeah.
So Inter Milan, unfortunately, they haven't really made any deep Champions League runs in a while. So for them, it's going to be tough because this is a whole different beast. This is a monster, bro. Like you just said, this is Liverpool.
Yeah. It's a gargantuan side that you're facing, and I think I'm going Liverpool.
Absolutely.
I think I gotta go Liverpool. I think Liverpool wins it. I don't think it's gonna be easy. I don't think it's gonna be a blowout.
No,
I could actually see Inter being in the games in each game individually, but overall, I just don't see how Liverpool doesn't pull a result here. I think they've got this. So Liverpool wins this matchup. The last matchup that we need to talk about here is the headline matchup between. Man, the matchup of so many narratives is the matchup of so many legacies. It's PSG against Real Madrid. I mean, I don't know, where do I start with these two? Let's just start with Paris. Sure. PSG. Huge money moves this past summer. Wijnaldum, Donnarumma, Messi. It's ridiculous. Ramos, the talent that they've acquired. Yeah. And they've had a season full of headlines, full of like the spotlight being on them. And they've shown that they are having trouble reaching the heights that people thought they would reach. Yeah. PSG should be so much better than what they are. Individually, probably one of the most talented teams the world of football has seen. Yeah. Like on paper, this team is absolutely, it's unreal, dude. It's unreal how the talent that they have. But then they play, their performance in League One would have you say that they're not as good as that paper shows. Yeah. It's not there. Meanwhile, Madrid, with not as much talent, is playing some of their best football in a couple years.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're a great team, dude. Yeah. That midfield of Modric, Kroos, and Casemiro is still as good as ever. Yeah. Militao's having a really good season. Courtois has been playing really well as well. Oh, yeah. Benzema is always a Ballon d'Or candidate.
Always.
And Vinicius so is having his rise. It's finally here.
He's finally here.
It's finally here.
He's actually impacting games.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing.
Truly deciding games. Yeah. Being involved, absolutely.
Yeah, and not empty numbers. These are they're first in La Liga for a reason. They are actually earning that position. Yeah, and so we've got an interesting clash now because I believe PSG's ceiling is so much higher than what Madrid can achieve.
Oh, yeah.
But right now, realistically, I think Madrid's like right here and PSG's like right here. But it's a question about can PSG find that ceiling, find that potential in them to go over the top because the pressure has never been bigger than now for PSG. PSG, their whole situation started when Neymar joined the team in terms of what we expect from them. PSG has been a team that has the same Bayern treatment where you have to, by default, win the League, win the League Cup, and have a deep Champions League run. That's your criteria. That's what you need to accomplish. Anything below that is a failure. Yeah. And we've seen that with Neymar, they've failed in that sense. Yeah. They lost the league. They didn't win every League Cup. And they made a Champions League final once, but that was kind of it.
Isn't that interesting, though? The idea that PSG, ever since they influx money into the club, they've had these criteria. They've had these expectations. But no matter what, they've always fallen short. Always. But not even just result-wise. What you see on the pitch, I don't think PSG have ever dominated a Champions League game, like truly, truly dominated. Knockout round, like group stage, sure. But knockout stage, when they need to win, I don't think I've ever seen a PSG team be like, damn. Like, this team's fucking balling. Like a Manchester City, a Liverpool, a Real Madrid, even an Atletico in their prime. I don't think I've ever seen PSG reach those heights. They're plagued. Something, I don't know what it is, but PSG just cannot achieve their potential.
Yeah.
It's really, really weird. But it's the same thing. The thing is, it comes from everywhere. Media, fans. Every year, it's almost the exact same storyline with PSG is, can they actually achieve their potential? And so far, they haven't been able to.
Yeah.
And for this round, I don't think they're going to either. I got Madrid winning this. I think they're the more well-rounded team. I think they have better roles. Mm-hmm. And for me, a better team's going to beat a weaker team. Maybe individually, like we said, PSG's better. But when you're facing a team like Madrid or Liverpool who have roles just knocked down to a T, man, that's a tough team to beat.
Yeah, and I still think that the PSG factor is interesting, man. I actually told myself I wouldn't pick a winner until I'm on this set and I'm recording because I think it's so even for both sides.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a great tie.
You're completely right about Real Madrid having those roles better drilled.
Yeah.
PSG,
it's cemented
man,
there.
PSG, so the thing is, could things be different this year? Because it's the biggest revamp they've had in their squad since they got Neymar.
True.
They've just acquired the greatest player of all time of the sport.
Yeah.
Lionel Messi's on the team. Obviously not having the season that people thought he would have, but it's I was looking at the numbers, dude. 2 goals, 6 assists in 11 games. I'm like, that's not that bad. People are being very critical on him.
Yeah.
And then in the Champions League, he's actually been very impactful. He was a clinical part of why they were able to beat Manchester City in the group stage.
Yeah.
They actually got a huge win against them. I still look at this PSG team. I'm just like, I don't know if I feel comfortable betting against the greatest player of all time. Because you're right. You're right that Real Madrid is a better team. They are absolutely a better team.
Yeah.
But when it comes to ideas like that, the only thing that can break them, the only thing that can break, the idea that one team is better than the other, and that's really it.
Just pure magic.
Is having an X factor,
Yeah.
a magical player that can reach heights that no other player can.
Right.
Messi still has it. We know he does.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And I just feel like, maybe he hasn't had the best season leading up to this, but I don't think it's a question that he'll at least do something in that matchup that'll.
Once he hears that Champions League anthem go on, he'll be like a Russian spy and just activate it. He's just gonna.
I think he'll activate. That's the thing.
On.
I don't think that just for Messi. I think that's gonna happen for a lot of those PSG players. I really do.
But I just feel like I get that same feeling every year. I'm like, Neymar's gonna show the fuck out,
right?
Or Di Maria's gonna go off. Mauro Icardi's gonna finally score a goal.
Though. They did that time they made the final. They actually all performed really well.
They did, but I thought they should have won it. And they didn't.
But they did.
I thought they should have won it.
It's a good Bayern team, man.
No, fuck that.
That was a good Bayern team.
That. I think PSG should have won it that year because they were so good leading up to it. And in that final, they just got Bayerned. But it pisses me off because you get to that final and you just lose the way they did. Mm-hmm. It really upset me. And that's what I'm saying is that I feel like no matter what PSG do, they're always going to get outdone by somebody. Always. Okay. And I have that. Yeah. It's like trauma. It's like no matter how much I believe in this PSG team, even like what you just said sounds nice, and I think it could happen. But let's say they do win this, something's gonna happen.
You're talking.
I'm talking just in general.
PSG philosophy.
Yeah,
absolutely. Deep rooted core trauma with this team.
Yes.
Okay.
So maybe they win this, but I still can't fully trust them.
Yeah, I think the last thing I wanted to say about PSG, if we can fit it in, the last thing I want to say about PSG is that I think this year more than any has shown that from the moment Mbappe joined the team, it became his team. I don't think this has been Neymar's team. You would think that based off of the propaganda, the media, and the way that people talk about Neymar, this is Neymar's team.
Right.
You look at the numbers, dude. Neymar hasn't played more than 17 games in the league for PSG in like 4 years. There's like 34 games to be played. And he's only played like 17.
Maybe half of
He plays
them.
half.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Mbappe's playing every game.
Yeah.
He's impactful. He's scoring. He's assisting. He's an important part of that team.
Right.
And he's doing the dirty work for Neymar, who then just gets to show up, do his stuff, perform, get the credit. And Mbappe this whole time is working his ass off. Yeah. And the same thing is happening this time. He's got Messi with him, and he's outscoring him and out-assisting him as well.
Yeah. That is an incredible point, because when I watch PSG as a neutral and I'm cheering for the underdog, as I usually do, I'll watch Neymar for the entertainment, but I'm scared of Mbappe.
Yes, dude. Yeah.
And that I think shows you who maybe he's truly in charge of this team, or who truly owns this team. Like, if you're, I would love to talk to like a true PSG fan. Like, what do they think, man? Like, do they see Mbappe as that? Because obviously his output is insane. It's been insane since he joined. Obviously, like tripling Neymar's numbers, right? So at that point, if you're a true PSG fan, you wear that shirt every day. Is Mbappe your guy now? Yeah. Like, has he always been that guy since he joined? Because numbers wise, he clearly is.
Yeah. And he actually shows up.
He shows you.
He shows
you that he's here to play for you.
And if that is his team, then that's what makes this matchup even more interesting, is because he's playing the team that he might potentially move to.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are saying that this could be the deciding factor for him, depending how this tie comes out. If PSG dominates Real Madrid, why would he leave that situation? He then realizes that he has the better team with him.
Yeah, that's what happened to Griezmann. He lost his Juve, and then he immediately was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm
if
going
they get
to Barca.
Bounced by Real Madrid,
he's done.
He's gone. He's gone. There's nothing else for him to do there. So legacy's on the line, transfers on the line.
That's a lot of headlines right there.
Man, too many for us to handle. I'm gonna be overwhelmed as fuck watching the game. I'm gonna have a fucking anxiety attack just watching the game. It's too much. But that's what we got for the Champions League predictions. Those are our predictions for each tie. Regardless, I think it's gonna be an incredible week of just soccer, watching all these matchups.
Hey, Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day football, baby.
Is there?